yet. It's early, but I'm looking forward to whoever shows up. And so I'll tell you in the meantime that I get to shed this in a week. Well, the doctor said a week and 4 days, but I'm going with a week. Get rid of this thing. You can't really imagine what it's like sleeping with this. Yeah, you have to sleep with it because that's where you might do this unintentionally. So that's one of the main reasons they want you to have it is that you don't do something like that with this hand. And so, especially as I'm talking today, I want to be prepared not to do this with this hand because I kind of speak with my hands sometimes. So today we are on the build area again of the channel. So a quick summary of the channel is that we human beings are always transforming because we're living beings. Living beings are changing. Living plants are changing. As humans, we are intentional about that. We will change irrespective of our intentionality, but to change and to transform positively, then we have to be intentional about it. And then that other side of build is passion, that area that we call pursuit, the pursuit. And that's where that which is going on inside comes to life and it speaks to us and moves us. And so today, motivation is kind of the key word as we talk about building. And so I'm going to read something for just a moment about that. But the build area is where we live our lives. It's where most of our time is spent. It's in working and in relationships and in family and in our spiritual life and in our self development and the things that we're reading and the things that we're doing. It's the doing part of our lives. So, um, build is a big deal. And as we think about that, we want to bring balance to that area. So, we're going to kind of focus a little bit on balance within the build area today. And hello, I see a couple of people have gotten on board. Great. Good to see you. Eric, and can't tell the name of the first name of the other, but Friends for Life is another. Dia and Bob, Gemma, Gemma, and Marie Jones. Hello, all. Thank you for being here. And I had just shared before you came that I'll be getting rid of this in a week. I'll be so glad. And but we're talking about the build area today, and just kind of summarizing the channel, the transform, the passion that leads to motivation, that leads to this area and build that shows itself. Our passion is manifest in the build world, and so that's what we're going to talk about today. So to start that, I'm going to read a little bit from the chapter that I call concentration, and there I deal with motivation and passion. And motivation is a child of passion. It is said of passion that one either has it or doesn't, but it is not true that one is either born with it or without it. Motivation, passion grows in us as we are convinced, and we are convinced out of a sense of our convictions of what it is we really believe deep down inside. This is why we can say that motivation is a child of passion, as they are each born out of a realization that we are convinced in our minds and our hearts that what we are pursuing is of great value and is not an end in itself. The picture that we had last week of Nehemiah on the wall. I'm doing a great work and I can't come down. Motivation means you are moved to action. That's why that's within the build realm here. That's where doing takes place. We are moved to action. And you cannot be truly motivated and stand still. The essence of motivation is rooted in what you truly believe and is evidenced by the fruits of action which conviction has stirred up. And so that's just a piece of motivation from my book. Um, and that's where we want to begin going today. I say begin going today because I usually do these in 30, no more than 45 minutes. And we can really only begin to touch on all of this, and especially as it relates to having balance in our lives. So, um, so I noted, and I hope you saw it in the posting today. I posted two links. Well, one link and one just the name of the book. The first link is a link to Charlie Kirk's last interview on, and it happened to be on entrepreneurship, and very very interesting. It's 30 minutes, and the other one is Grant Cardone's book, Be Obsessive or Be Average. Okay. Now, I put those two there because there may be some among us who are strongly motivated and very passionate about what we're doing. Both of those two men are, and yet very contrasting goals that they each had, but similar ways that they go about approaching it. Very intentional, very focused, very purposeful. And so, whether it is big ideas like those fellas have, Grant Cardone, if you don't know him, is a big marketer in the world today. My my coach that I have had was a Cardone trained coach, and and so those guys have big ideas, and they have strong passions and big drives, and they're going after it. But we're not all that way. But I believe we are all that way with respect to the fact that we do have that thing inside of us that is driving us, that is the passion, that is the pursuit, that is the thing that we are going after. And so, to that degree, I want to have us focus on that whole idea. Um, each of those guys uh, build out their days in a 15-minute segment. In other words, in 15 minutes every day, they know what they want to accomplish in that 15 minutes. Now, that's intentionality. That's great focus. That's powerful concentration. All words that I use in my book, by the way. Uh, and uh, and so for any of you that really have a big idea and a really strong interest in really building something big, both that link and that book would be good for you. Maybe even training with Cardone would be good for you. But for most of us, we live in a world not quite that advanced in terms of its intentionality. But again, I do believe that we all have that pursuit. We've talked about it. That thing that's speaking to us, that thing that is driving us, that thing that is really, really important to us, and not necessarily from the day we were born, but possibly because of the circumstances of life, possibly because of what we have experienced. Then we have developed passions for something because of that experience. And so, again, I do believe that that's going on in all of us, and that we always want to be looking to that to issue forth into the world of building, so that that which we are doing in our work or in our pursuit of building a business or in our pursuit of building our own little family, that's always there, and that's always speaking to us, and it's always driving us. So uh, so those are the things that we're talking about in build. In build is the is that all of the stuff of life, our work, huge part of our day, right? Our relationships, how we go about developing those, the connections with people that we have, our volunteer commitments, our spiritual life, our self development. All of those things are going on within the doing. Those are the things that we do something about day in and day out in order to grow, in order to be transformed. And so we want to have balance in that. Um, let me let me read from the chapter on balance. Now this balance has to do with the 9 or 10 pitfalls that I refer to in building a purposeful business where you could fall prey to certain things. What we're talking about right now has to do with what I just listed out, balance within respect with regard to the matters of life that we're doing day in and day out. But the concept remains. Um, because it has to do with what we've talked about before, is the man who fears God avoids all extremes. And so balance has to do with understanding our extremes, understanding our quote obsessions, our addictions, understanding those things that we are so driven by that we lose sight of other things so that we're not in balance. Maybe more an issue for the workaholic realm than uh, the lesser motivated. Um, and again, those are the two groups of people that I like speaking to because I would like to bring balance in between all of that. That is the workaholic mindset and the one that knows that they have something going on inside. They want to do something more, but are kind of sitting back and are not in the ring yet. They're still watching the fight from outside the ring. And so we really don't want to be doing that. We really want to be in the ring. And so my challenge to you as we use this channel is to uh, become one that is in the fight that's coming from your belly, the fight that's from inside of you, so that we can all be transforming together, becoming all that God has created us to be. That really is my purpose. Um, and I'm just going to take a quick uh, detour here for just a minute because all of this has brought me to a place where I believe that I'm going to build a new community. Um, I'd hope that this YouTube place would be an intimate connection uh, and uh, and be the community that I want it to be, and ultimately it may very well be. But by virtue of the way that it is and the broad spectrum that it reaches, it can't be what I hoped that it would be, and don't didn't really know that until I got into it, and it's been a few months now. And so I'm thinking right now in the next week or 2 probably, if I'm going to do it, I'll probably do it the next week or 2 to build a community of people that want to live this balanced life, that want to pursue this thing that's within them, that want to become all that God has created each of us to be. That's kind of the mission. I haven't stated it yet. I haven't clarified all this yet, but I put it out to you as a little bit of a detour here, just to say that if today you have any interest, any of you hearing this have any interest, whether it's now during the live or later when you listen to the live, in considering a more intimate uh, kind of profile, a community that we can interact on a more intimate level where we're answering one another's questions and we're seeking answers together for the issues of life, for where each of us are. And if you want more of a connection, then put your email address in the not in the chat, but I haven't figured out yet how to see the chats. I mean, I see them right now, but not afterwards. So there's probably a way of doing that. If any of you can let me know how to do that, that would be great. But to put it in the comments and or a post or something that will reach me so that I can gather those together and send you a note as to what that might look like. So just an idea at this moment in time. So I'll tell you a little bit more about it at the end of this time together. So balance. I just wanted to read this from balance. Um, these areas of life are not all that dangerous by themselves. That is, if we focus just on one and not to all of them at the same degree. It's really very admirable that you'll be personally involved in the lives of the people with whom you work, or to be committed to your business to the extent that you are identified by your business really is not all that bad in and of itself. The temptations I addressed were those that have more to do with moving your business and lifestyle ahead more than the idea of wrongdoing. So even the matter of being anxious to move on and excited about the next step you take can be a positive if these are balanced in light of the risk and rewards. And so this idea of balance, when we are so focused on one, uh, to the degree that we are not seeing the other, uh, can can keep us out of balance. And so much of this is simply being aware, becoming aware of what's going on inside of us, what our motivations are, what our desires are, where we want to go, what we want to accomplish, and how we want to go about doing that. Again, within the build world, we're talking about how to, because that's where we do things. Um, Interesting. Uh, I late at night, by the time I'm ready for bed, I get real tired a little bit before bedtime, and when I can't think anymore, I can't write anymore, I can't do anything. But I'm not ready to go to bed quite yet. I'll find a biography or a motivational thing on YouTube or something, and, I found a series, by National Geographic, called Genius, and, the first one I saw months ago was on Einstein, and that was a good series, and so I picked up the next one, which I see is Picasso, and I just finished that one, and, here's what you find out about Picasso as one of the women that he lived with during those years and had 2 of his children wrote this. Wrote this story after his death, died in 74, 75. But he was, as she identifies him, in this story, she does clarify and show his good points, but also his bad points, because we all have those, right? And by and large, he was a narcissist. He was very, very concerned about himself and his own pursuit and his own things that he was going after, rather than any of those family members around him. And again, that was his intentionality about painting, and that was his work that he was so involved in that he missed a lot of other things. But the point is that when we for him, what happened, what you see late in life, he began to see that deficiency, that characteristic that was not a real positive in his life. But it took him a lifetime to see it, a little bit like me. I couldn't help but relate to some of the things that were going on in the story. And so it was late in life that he saw it. What we're challenging one another to do here, for you young folks, is to pick up on these things early, to reckon with and to be aware of what's going on in your lives, in your spirituality, in your mindset, in your heart, and in the world of building. To pick those things up early and to be aware of them. That's so much what it is about. I mean, even the thing that we call narcissism is not that bad of a thing. It's something that is a part of a personality for many people, really. But it's a bad thing if you don't recognize it, if you're not aware of it. But if you are aware of it and you can see that that's basically how you are, well, number one, you can begin to change certain areas of your life. But number two, you can just become much more sensitive and aware of what's going on around you. So I'm saying no matter what the issues of life are, no matter what the personality traits that we have are, positive or negative, uh, nothing is all that terrible if we are aware of it. Becoming aware and seeking a balanced life is so much a part of this thing we call life. If we're so busy in this world, we so quickly go here and go there and do this and do that, and we're so focused on the work that we do. And some of us may be so focused on the family that we're building that we are not taking time for ourselves. We're not taking time to look at ourselves and seek self development to become a better us. And so that's what we're talking about here. Within the build world, bringing balance into our lives so that we can be, again, who God has created us to be. He didn't create Picasso or you or me or anyone else to be a narcissist, but that he had that characteristic by virtue of his upbringing, by virtue of the experiences of life and the things that he drew from and what he just became. It's not the way God designed him. He designed him and you and me a particular way, and we want to get back to that. And the fact that those characteristics exist in us, we want to be aware of them. We want to be sensitive to them. That's why we need connection. That's why we need one another. That's why we need to be awakened sometimes. To use the word from Metamorphosis, had to be awakened as I became aware. But awareness is a big deal. And sometimes we're afraid to look at ourselves the way we need to look at ourselves in order to understand what's really going on, in order to really understand where we are headed and why we are headed that way. And so it's those things that we want to think about as we consider having a balanced life within this realm of building our lives. If it's building a new business, if it's just building a great reputation at work to be the best that you can be there, then we want to challenge ourselves to be sure that it's coming from who we are and not just what we are doing. That's really kind of the bottom line of it. Being aware, being open to the transformation, being uh, looking for self-improvement and self-development. Yeah, in your workaday life, you're going to get some self-development courses. You're going to get some self-improvement courses, but they're mostly going to be relative to your work. And so again, what I'm saying here is that while we might go to a 3-day course because your work has sent you there and feel like, oh, you're much further along now. You're probably much further along with regard to the work that you do rather than the person that you are. So, I mean, just think about that. Uh, Give yourself time for self development. Give yourself time for prayer. Give yourself time to be with yourself and do that in a connectedness with others that you can bounce off what you're thinking through and what you're experiencing with others. Again, that's what I kind of hope that that community will help us to do. So um, it does seem though like that we are either a workaholic or a uh, that is an overachiever or an underachiever. It seems like those are the two big categories. I'm sure there are people that are very, very balanced. I just don't know many of them. But certainly, of course, they're out there. I'm just kidding. But the point is that the majority of us seem to fall into one of those other two realms, and so we need to be aware. Here's the way the scripture identifies it, and I'm very uncomfortable in this chair here. Is the Apostle Paul says, "Examine yourselves." Um, and we do want to be in a state of examining ourselves. That's where we can become aware. Now, he uses that the first time in First Corinthians with regard to what you can eat and what you can drink. The Corinthians were having this silly discussion, as he saw it, about what you can eat and what you can't eat, because there was a combination of Jews and Gentiles coming together in this new world of Christianity. And so he basically said, uh, "That's not important. Eat whatever you want. um, Go before God and search that out yourself. Examine yourselves. If it's really important to you, then don't eat it. If it really doesn't matter to you as you go before God and you're examining yourself, eat it." So he really dealt with it in a very nonchalant manner and just kind of blew it off because it was not that big of a deal. Now, there is another time he uses it in the second book, in Second Corinthians. He also says to examine yourselves, and that one's a little bit more important. That's where he says, "Examine yourselves to know whether or not Christ is in you." And so that's the one that I've told you about. For me, that for many years I couldn't quite connect with that. And it took me into the later years to really connect with the fact that he lives within me. And that's been an exciting life since then. And before then, it was somewhat of a turmoil. So, yeah, examining ourselves. Um, I got to share this story with you that happened in my own family in this last week. Now, I've got a family of 4 adult children. They're all obviously grown, and now 13 grandchildren. And so a spouse with each of those 4 children. And one of those spouses is a pastor, and he very sharp guy, very intelligent, much more so than I am, and of course knows much more about the Bible than I do. And he has a small church of 150, 200 people. I don't know what it is. And they've been there doing that in Pennsylvania for, I think, about 15 years now, 10 or 15 years, probably 15. Time goes pretty quick when you get older. And so I saw, know him well enough to know what his talents and his abilities are, in addition to just being a really smart guy. And I remembered that when he was younger, uh, just coming out of college, that uh, he wanted to relate to, and he wanted to interact with people, and he did while he was in college, with people on campus. Yeah, he really enjoyed talking to people and debating people, and he can do it in a very loving way, in a very powerful way. And he's just got all those natural abilities. So with that in mind, I sent a text out to the whole family, and I said, have you two, called them by name, have you two considered applying for, that was the question I asked, a position to do debates on campuses from TPUSA? Basically, I said that, you could do this as well as Charlie did it, and they're going to need a lot of people doing it because a month ago they only had 2,000 campuses that they were on, and now they've got 65,000 applications for all these new campuses, and they're going to need a lot of people doing this. You might have noticed that Megan Kelly did one the other day, and they're going to have different people doing those. But I'm sure they'll need to be drawing from a large resource. And so maybe in this little area of Pennsylvania, maybe they have a college here or a college there, and once in a while they might be able to need to call on somebody. And so my thought was that you'd be great at this. And and it didn't go over well. Now, at the end of the conversation was, thanks, Dad, for, the confidence. Thanks for the idea, but it's really not what we're ready to do right now. Well, I thought about that and I said, "Well, it's not really what I was thinking or asking you to be ready to do right now." First of all, I don't think Moses was ready to do what he was called to do when he needed to be doing it. I don't think Jonah wanted to do what he wanted to do. He ran away from it like I did. I don't think Abraham was ready, but he went. And so I don't think so much a question of am I ready right now? All I was asking was, maybe put an application out there and be a resource that may be able to be called on from time to time as needed. And so what this speaks to is the difference of approach to life. Within the build area, that part of my family has a very stable life. Unlike mine has been. Mine's been all over the place. And so they kinda cling to that stability, and that's fine. That's the way they're building that life, but at least be open, at least examine. yourselves. At least consider the possibility. At least reckon with the idea that, Jesus said this, he said that the Holy Spirit he'll come and he'll convict the world of sin and of judgment and of righteousness and of judgment. That's his job. He said he'll teach us all things. He will lead us. He'll direct us, all those things. So we need to be open to that. if we believe that, if we believe that at the very core of our being, that he leads, that he directs, that he's always teaching us, that he teaches us all things and his truth and is no lie, and even as he has taught us, he shall abide in us. Then it seems we will want to be open to hearing his voice. So that's what I'm talking about as we're talking about balance, as we're talking about doing within the realm of the build world, being aware of what our talents, our abilities, our resources are, being aware of who it is that God has created us to be, making sure that we know that we are accessible to the voice of God as He is continuing, as we are continuing to become that who He has created us to be. That's it. Not all that complicated, but we want to be real. We want to be open. We, we want to be accessible. We want to be open to what it is that might be a change in our life. It might be a time to look at things differently. Now, if you look at that story of Picasso, you see that he did that a number of times. You see that the woman that wrote this book did it. You see that it happens all over life, that things are changing, that we're open to the concept that it's time for a change. And again, only if it's God leading us. I've made plenty of changes that wasn't that. So I'm not encouraging you to do that. I'm encouraging you uh, to do the right thing, to be seeking God and to be seeking His presence and to be seeking His direction and to be asking as you're going. That's all. It's not a mysterious thing. It's but a very personal thing. And so, yes, let me just close our time with the idea. And I did have one verse noted here, Psalm 26:2. Examine me, O Lord, and prove me. It's that whole idea of examining ourselves, the whole idea of going before God and asking Him to examine us and to prove us, that we might prove what is that acceptable and perfect will of God. That's the idea of being transformed. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you might prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. And so that's where we want to be. So let me just tell you, if you have, hope you can hold on with me for a few minutes and get a hold of this idea of a community where we're able to interact day in and day out, chatting and emailing, with the issues of life that are going on in each of our lives, so that we can be connected in a way that we are helping one another find the answers to the direction that we want to go. We'll be praying for one another as we go. We will be searching out each of our lives as to who it is that God has made us to be, because that's who we want to become. We want to be that whom God has made us to be. And again, I haven't gotten all the details worked out about it, but generally speaking, it'll be that. It'll be a real people being really connected. I want you to think about this. AI is becoming so prevalent and will become so much better in the days to come. Right now, you can kind of tell when it's real and when it's not. I couldn't a number of times. My grandsons, I'd send them something, my grandsons would say, "That's AI, granddad." So I've already been fooled. But in the coming days, we will easily be fooled. And when you do a chat GPT or do a Claude, you go on there and you talk to them like they are a real person. You say please and thank you. It's amazing. And so they can become very real to us. And it seems to want to do that. For myself, I want to be connected with another person who has a heart, who has feelings, who can interact with me on a human level. And so I want to get ahead of that curve. I want to be sure that I'm in a community that is real and is really connected. So that's what I want to build. And I'm looking to do that in the coming days. And just looking for any input that anyone might have. Again, whether it be a comment that you can make to me, or if you can send me your email address, if you have any interest in being uh, apprised of when I lift that off. Please do that. There will be for the founding members. There will be some advantages, but I wouldn't want you to come on board for advantages, but only because it sounds like it would be something that would really fit for you. So it'll be desiring balance, it'll be desiring realness, it'll be seeking authenticity, it'll be wanting to be aware, it'll be an honesty and asking any question kind of a place where you can say anything, a place where we're challenging one another to be all that God has made us to be. So to me, it's going to be a very exciting place, and I'm really looking forward to it, although I haven't quite firmed it up yet. But I'm really kind of leaning that way. I've seen other groups do this, and it seems to really be a place that helps people, and that's what I want to do. Um, you know, I think in terms of this channel, and I say, well, eventually maybe they'll become that. But at my age, you can't think too much in terms of eventually. You got to think more in terms of today and trying to get things moving ahead. So I think a community will help me to do that. And I really hope it will be a helpful place. It'll be a place of challenging us. It'll be a place of encouragement. It'll be a place that we can, again, come and be real, real people doing real things at real times in real places, pursuing the real intents of our hearts. So I look forward to doing that. So please uh, give me an email address, give me a comment. I really love those comments. And see what I got here before I close down today. Um, let's see. Smiley says, "Good luck." Thank you. Don't really believe in luck, but you know, believe that God is sovereign and He does what He wants, when He wants, where He wants, how He wants, and with whom He wants. uh, God bless you. Have a good life. Thank you. Okay, Yemen, Michelle. One of my daughters is Michelle, and Smiley. She's got a nickname, Smelly. And so good to see you all here. Loud Pac-Man, who's your fishing? Jesus is King. Hallelujah. That's for sure. My book, Loud Pac-Man is asking, what's your book? One is Building a Purposeful Business. That's the one I read from today. The other is Metamorphosis. And of course, the one I'm working on is The Pursuit, pursuing the things of God. And so, let's see. God bless Donald Trump. It's a diamond in the rough. My channel is okay. Okay. Carmen Go Lopez says, "How are you?" I'm doing great. I get rid of this. I told maybe before any of you were on, I get rid of this thing here in another week. Well, don't tell the doctor because he wants me to be in it in a week and a half, but I'm done in a week. And Carmen Lopez says hi, hello, and let's see, let's go Lions. Okay, Dia and Vu say hi, and Gemma and Marie Jones hi. Love you all. Thanks so much for being here. Look forward to seeing you next time. And please give me a comment, give me a like, give me buy and come on and subscribe if you haven't done that. But the really important thing is what I'm looking to do right now, and to get an email from anybody that would have any interest, or anyone that you may know would have an interest. See you soon. Thanks so much.